So next is Erikson. So as I said, Erikson kind of took from Freud in the sense that he's the psychoanalytic perspective. So looking at unconscious desires, motives, how biological is affected by needs and desires that we have as we go out through the lifespan. You're going to see Erikson's a little bit more detailed, I guess you could say. Erikson has his stages pretty much go throughout the whole lifespan and each age, versus Freud, he kind of just said, here's what happened in adults, and that's it. Like, he really didn't go into too much detail, versus you can kind of see there's a little bit more detail in this theory right here. So overall, Erikson had 8 different stages when it comes to psychosocial theory. And basically, he focused more on the needs in terms of social development as we go throughout the lifespan. So he noted that as children grow, they need some type of interaction from the environment socially in order to continue to be fully matured, to reach achievements and success. So, for example, the first stage is basic trust versus mistrust. And what he was saying here is that from birth to 1 year is very important when it comes to attachment. So a child is going to attach to their caregiver during this time, and this is going to be fueled by either trust or mistrust. Developing this trust versus mistrust, children are fueled by how the caregiver responds to them, right? So, for example, if you have a responsive caregiver that, if you're crying and you need to be changed or you need to be held and comforted, well, you're learning that your parent loves you, right? You're learning that the parent will be there for you. And there's kind of this sense of hope that this person will always be there for you. And that kind of goes into, developing attachment and trust in the fact that if this person is already showing X, Y, and Z to be there for you, of course you're going to trust that caregiver, correct? So on the other hand, there could be children who have mistrust where the caregiver is not very responsive. They're not always there for the child. Maybe they don't change the child very oftenly, or they leave the child unattended for, a long period of time. Well, the child could develop mistrust, according to Erikson. So he noted that basically there's going to be a resolution in conflict. So you can hear the word conflict very similar to Freud, but it's just framed in a little bit of a different way. Autonomy versus shame is usually about a year to 3. Okay, so this is where children are learning, how can I say it? Exploration. Okay, so they're being autonomous, right? They're feeling comfortable in their environment to explore, having that autonomy. And for example, if a child does develop trust in that first stage, then Erikson says, well, yeah, he's going to develop autonomy, or she's going to develop autonomy because the caregiver provided that trusting environment. They're going to feel comfortable enough so in their environment to explore. On the other hand, if you have mistrust, then you're more likely to have some negative resolution in the next stage, which is shame or doubt. For example, let's say we have, a child who spills a gallon of milk because they're trying to make their own breakfast, right? So let's say like a 2.5 or 3-year-old is trying to make breakfast and their parents are sleeping and the milk is too heavy for them, so they accidentally drop it, and then big bang happens and the milk falls all over the floor. The parents wake up, they come down the stairs and they see all the milk spilled everywhere. Well, a parent could behave in many different ways, right? A parent could say, for example, I can't believe you did that, you're so stupid. Or they could say, uh-oh, well, you weren't supposed to do that, help me clean this up, right? And, depending on how you respond to the child, they're going to develop some type of perception of how you perceive them, right? So obviously the one where the parent says you're stupid or I can't believe you did that and scold them, well, a child may develop shame or doubt about their own actions, about, their confidence, about their skills. So you can kind of see as we go throughout these different stages, there's going to be different conflicts, different resolutions, and basically, overall, Erikson noted that the more positive resolutions you have, the more likely you'll achieve each stage with a positive. Versus, obviously, if you start out with a negative, it's more likely to have a negative resolution. The next stage is initiative versus guilt. So this is 3 to 6 years. And this goes back into autonomy as well. So children who explore their environment are more likely to be taking initiative. They're going to want to do new things. They're going to feel confident to do those things. Versus they may develop guilt if they have some type of shame or doubt. So this is just a brief overview of Erik Erikson. Go ahead and read the rest of the chapter for the rest of these, and I look forward to seeing you in class.